Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us on the primetime news on Equinoxe Television. We are live from Cameroon's economic capital city, Douala, Equinoxe Central News Desk. Thanks for joining us. In our top story, the deadlock on the announced talks between the governments of Cameroon and separatists in the armed conflict in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon said to be a winning strategy for one of the party. The hidden operations will be revealed to you in the second part of this newscast. And shocking enough, state armed groups and non-state armed groups have been accused of raping women in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. Revelations made in the southwest regional chieftown of Buea. In this edition of the news, Bamenda, chieftown of the northwest region of Cameroon, finds reasons to smile after the armed conflict that started in 2016 has been causing them havoc and, of course, tears and pains to inhabitants of the northwest regional chieftown. These stories and more will be developed in the course of this news. Stay with us. We are 6 p.m. in Cameroon's economic capital city, Douala. You're on to the primetime news on Equinoxe Television, broadcasting from our central news desk. We begin on one of our top stories. We begin on this news from the nation's political capital, Yaoundé, meeting on with regards to the National Communications Council meeting on its 27th ordinary session in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé. The National Communications Council, the NCC in Cameroon, examined and deliberated on 5 cases under regulations. Members, according to its national president, Peter Esoka, decided to slam a 1-month suspension from journalism practice in Cameroon to 2 journalists of a television station in Yaoundé, Cameroon. 1-month suspension to the chief executive officer of the same television station in Yaoundé, Cameroon. 3-month suspension from the practice of journalism in Cameroon for a journalist practicing in a print media organ based in Yaoundé, Cameroon. 1 month suspension for a radio presenter in Yaoundé, Cameroon. 2 other journalists of 2 different print media organs also concerned. We are warned, according to the decision published by Peter Esoka, president of the National Communications Council in Cameroon. And I will talk something else. A business guru in Gaoundéré in the Adama region of Cameroon has been assassinated by men of the underworld. While in Cameroon's economic capital city, internet fraudsters, commonly known as scammers, who have been using the face of Cameroon's soccer star Samuel Eto'o to extort huge money from nationals and foreign nationals, have been presented to the public by elements of the judiciary police in Bonanjo, the heart of the city of Douala. Simanjikan Gabriel tells us more on these stories.
Inhabitants are in tears. A popular businessman has been slaughtered by unknown gunmen. According to the brother of the deceased, the wife of his late brother informed him about the incident at about 1 a.m. The residence of this businessman was scattered by the thieves after they must have committed the act on him. Investigation have been opened by security forces to track down the killers of the trader who sells at Petit Marché in Gaoundéré. In Douala, Perfura Njoya Seydou, 38 years old, and Njoya Ibrahim, 27 years old, were presented to the press at the Judicial Police Station in Bonanjo. The 2, according to Commissioner Latte and team, were involved in the scam of an Italian national alleged to be accountant of Mrs. Samuel Eto'o. Security sources say that the two used the face of Samuel Etofis and the Sultan of Bamun on their profile page to dupe their victims, saying they are involved in the buying and selling of players to professional clubs in Europe. After several complaints with the security forces, they laid their hands on these two from the Italian. The sum of 250,000 euro, which is about 163,750,000 francs CFA, was duped from him.
And Cameroon is not only facing security challenges, but the lack of social basic amenities in several localities across the 10 regions making up the Republic of Cameroon. In Galim and Buda localities of the Bambutus division of the West region of Cameroon, inhabitants say they are thirsty, they have not had portable drinking water, and what they fetch where they fetch from to drink is doubtful. And of course, that, according to them, has resulted to disease and health complications suffered by children in this locality. More with Smart Njikan Gabriel.
It is from this open space that inhabitants of Galim quench their thirst. It's 1 year plus that the people of Galim fetch water from this open space to use back at home. When it rains, mud fills the only water point we have in Galim. At times, people leave from Buda to come and fetch water. Inhabitants say the water is provided thanks to the use of electricity supply. This reservoir works with the aid of a transformer and a pump that enables the water to flow. When there is no electricity supply, there is no water. Unfortunately, power supply is never constant. There is no constant electricity supply every day here at Galim. We are in need of water and electricity supply all at the same time. Not very far from Galim is Mbuda. Here, water has stopped flowing from their tap for several years now. As a result of the absence of the liquid, the inhabitants are forced to drink from a running stream whose water is questionable. It is very complicated. This is the only water point that we get water from. It is not even well constructed, but out of desperation, we are forced to drink the water from it and use it too. The population of Mbuda had since in the 1990s subscribed to be supplied by the water company, but till date, water is not flowing.
And no doubt Galim and Buda are rural areas in Cameroon, but in urban metropoles in Cameroon, these problems exist. In the economic capital city, Douala, inhabitants of the Douala 4 subdivision say they lack good roads, so hospitals, schools, portable drinking water, and other basic social amenities. Their problems were raised through the voices of the head of these different neighborhoods making up Bonaberi, and these problems were presented to the mayor of the Douala 4 during a Meet the People tour. Innocent tells us more in the following report.
Deplorable roads, overcrowded markets, limited schools, lack of pipe-borne water, and constant power cuts are the challenges faced by the population of Bonambape and the quarters in the Douala 4 municipality like Mabanda, Foreba, and others.
The routes in Mabanda were well traced from the onset and well marked, 14 meters, 12 meters large, but unfortunately, gradually, the population, the people who are next to the route, occupy gradually using different methods to occupy the route. Finally, the routes are now 6 meters, 8 meters. We have also the problem of education. We have about 4 nursery schools that have been created in Mambanda. You know, Mambanda is thick in population and large also. These schools are holding in people's private houses in small, in very, very unhealthy circumstances. We also need that the medicalized center should be enlarged. It was built at a subdivisional level, but actually that should be larger than that now because it's already full.
Lack of drainage channels resulting to inundation is not forgotten.
We have drainages that they need to open up, and those people who have occupied, they should also go out of the place and allow water to circulate freely.
They recently addressed these plights to their mayor, who paid them a visit to take note of their challenges and needs.
We are elected by our population. It's important for us to come to know what problem they have. And they have problem of water, they have problem of infrastructure, they have problem of flood. We will try to do our best to resolve all those problems. It's important to know that some problem we can resolve those problems ourselves with our budget. But some problem it's important for us to know to go to the mairie de la ville in French or to go to our ministry to ask them to help us to help our population.
Mayor Mobimpa Edouard Seve, who began his visit by meeting the paramount chief of Bonambape, has pledged Forever, whose roads are extremely impassable, will be given new looks. It will also be blessed with a health center. A school will be constructed at Ngwele, and the Mabanda, Gwanhanga and Wild markets shall be relocated so as to solve congestion often caused by the market crowd.
The armed conflict in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon is not yet over. Talks announced between the government of Cameroon and separatists on July 2020 have gone on to a deadlock, but the people of the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon have continued to suffer. A category of these people suffering higher or suffering the effects of this crisis more are women who've suffered sexual violence from the hands of state and non-state armed groups. This revelation was made in Boya, chief town of the southwest region of Cameroon, by a group of people who've been monitoring sexual violence and other related human rights abuses in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. Derek Jato was part of that event in Boya and compiled the following report.
Armed confrontations between the non-state armed groups and the government defense forces in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. Reports say at least each village in the northwest and southwest regions has witnessed such episodes.
They're there already.
Many have died from bullet wounds, and those recovering might one day forget when their wounds must have healed. But there is an increasing violent episode which is still a subset of the war, and psychologists are worried that its victims might likely to live with the memories forever, and that is gender-based violence. On this page, there is always one word that comes first: rape.
The people who perpetrate these actions more during this conflict era are the non-state armed groups and the state armed groups.
And this is the situational picture of gender-based violence as at now in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon.
There were about 7 young men on her, and they had to get her well raped, abandon her by the roadside.
She, along with her biology teacher and other female students, were gang raped.
That little girl, she was open 3 years something. I mean, destroyed.
These gender-based violence service providers say they are registering such cases on daily basis.
There are many other cases like that, but it is often that the women are a target.
The armed attack might have reduced, but these non-governmental organizations living the situation on the ground say gender-based violence is steadily on the rise. And to better contain the situation, a 5-day workshop to train these gender-based violence service providers was organized in Boya by UNFPA, a sexual and reproductive health agency of the United Nations. As explained by Aliu Maiga, gender-based violence subcluster coordinator at UNFPA.
UNFPA has organized a 5-day training for frontline workers to ensure that we have the skills and the capacities to respond in a ethical and in a quality manner to the needs of survivors and the victims of gender-based violence.
But critics say the Northwest and Southwest regions will remain a fertile ground for gender-based violence if the security situation too remains this hostile.
Sad stories, including killings, have characterized life in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon since the start of the armed conflict. Bamenda, chief town of the northwest region of Cameroon, has been at the center of numerous atrocities running from beheadings and killings. And of course, inhabitants of the northwest regional chief town, though living the hard effects of the armed conflict, had reasons to smile recently during a successful launch of an aeroplane prototype by a 17-year-old student in Bamenda. Bostella tells us more.
The Solidarity Fund to fight against the spread of COVID-19, known as Suivi Cameroon Survival Initiative, launched on the 3rd of April by the president of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement political party, Professor Maurice Kamto, and Penda Ikoka as chairman of the management committee, is currently carrying out action. The apolitical initiative has as objective to fight against the spread of the coronavirus pandemic in Cameroon.
The coronavirus disease has actually hit almost all countries in Africa, and particularly Cameroon. Officially, there is around 17,000 cases with more than 390 deaths, and this is just official cases. So it is for this reason that Cameroon Survival Initiative decided not just to help the population, but also help the health staff, which are the frontline soldiers against this fight.
The different contributions made by Cameroonians have been used to purchase health equipment, which is currently being distributed in different health establishments in Douala.
We have offered two types of material. There is material to really reinforce protection of the health staff, barrier measures, which contain therefore the hydroalcoholic gel. And
these people are gathered here on this makeshift runway to watch an aeroplane prototype take off. For the inventor, Video Tage, a 17-year-old student in Bamenda, it is 8 years of hard work.
I started in 2012, and the only year that I succeeded to fly airplane is in 2020 this year, and I would like to be an engineer for fabricating airplanes.
His 2 meters long aeroplane prototype weighs 3,200 grams. With the help of a remote control and a battery, Video flies the plane few meters into the skies of Bamenda. To have achieved this far, the young inventor has had the support of his father.
My parents have supported me with 200,000 francs, and the money is finished, and my father is definitely blind.
His dreams are big, but the challenges are many.
The device that I use to control the airplane is not really good, and the device is not really good because when the airplane is in the air, I don't really see it clearly. I need a good support for the airplane because I want to fabricate an airplane that can transport people from one place to another.
Video's father is one of many who will want to see the young inventor achieve his dreams. He is bent on having his son go through with his invention, but is financially limited.
All my eyes, so don't tell all money I get down. Where I don't succeed for see. I don't send a bamboo chair. And over 4 years when they so when we did this we did it also so all things don't die okay I enema we feel that the picking my picking so feel me because I picking for the war not my picking.
The young inventor believes if he is assisted, made in Cameroon aeroplanes will one day fly her airspace and beyond. But with little or no follow-up by Cameroon's Ministry of Scientific Research and Innovations, inventions like this one have ended as mere dreams of the inventors. Video's wish is that his project is not one of such.
With over 17,000 COVID-19 cases confirmed across the country and some 390 persons killed by the coronavirus since its outbreak on March the 5th, 2020 in Cameroon, SUVI Cameroon Survival Initiative of the CRM political party and some Cameroonians of goodwill is reaching out to vulnerable Cameroonians, especially in health establishments, with equipment aimed at helping Cameroonians to be safe from COVID-19. More with Immaculate Fogwe.
The Solidarity Fund to fight against the spread of COVID-19, known as SUVI Cameroon Survival Initiative, launched on the 3rd of April by the president of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement political party, Professor Maurice Kamto, and Penda Ikoka as chairman of the management committee, is currently carrying out action. The apolitical initiative has as objective to fight against the spread of the coronavirus pandemic in Cameroon.
The coronavirus disease has actually hit almost all countries in Africa, and particularly Cameroon. Officially, there is around 17,000 cases with more than 390 deaths, and this is just official cases. So it is for this reason that Cameroon Survival Initiative decided not just to help the population, but also help the health staff, which are the frontline soldiers against this fight.
The different contributions made by Cameroonians have been used to purchase health equipment, which is currently being distributed in different health establishments in Douala.
We have offered two types of material. There is material to really reinforce protection of the health staff, barrier measures, which contain therefore the hydroalcoholic gel and the mask, the KN95 mask, which is very specific for the health staff. We have also offered material for diagnosis. This includes diagnostic tests, and then we have offered material to reinforce management of the patient, oxygen saturation to appreciate the need of the oxygen for the patient, then oxygen concentrator, which helps extracting the oxygen and then giving it to the patient under monitoring. We have also offered electrocardiogram, and this electrocardiogram helps in appreciating whether there is arrhythmias, because some of these patients may present with arrhythmia either related to the disease itself or either related to the medications that are used. So you can see that, and including blood pressure machines. We have offered electronic automatic blood pressure machine.
The limited number of equipment in most health facilities in Cameroon is said to be one of the major causes of mortality rates in the country.
Because we know that most of our hospitals are really not enough equipped even before the coronavirus disease. So this is really an opportunity to equip our hospitals and then to upgrade some of the equipment that they were already having. So we are very thankful to the Cameroonians that have contributed to this initiative under the coordination of Mr. Penda Ikoka.
The SUVI Cameroon Survival Initiative plans continuing the distribution process to other parts of Cameroon in order to better contain the spread of the coronavirus in Cameroon. Heads of these health establishments who benefited from the aid applauded the initiative, as it will be able to go a long way to save humanity.
That is for the first part of news. Coming up is Talking Point. Thanks for joining us on Talking Points. Ladies and gentlemen, we are receiving Barrister Tamford Richard. Barrister, thanks for accepting our invitation.
Thank you, Mr. Fomi Armstrong. The pleasure is all mine.
Barrister, we begin with one of our lead stories talking about the deadlock on the announced talks between the government of Cameroon and separatist fighters. Actually, when this information was made known on July, sometime around the 13th of July 2020, Cameroonians were happy. Those in and out of the country were happy. We had support coming from the international community based on their declarations. It appeared everybody was happy and it was a welcome initiative. What, according to you, went wrong?
Yes, the raw truth is that ever since this crisis started, You have some people who are feeding very fat from the crisis. Some people are fueling it the more. So any initiative in trying to look for a lasting solutions will always happen, as we just witnessed what happened in July, as you said. It's however regrettable that we have information that negotiation talks were coming up from Switzerland, the Swiss talks, and just of recent we experienced after the call of the United Nations that parties involved in armed conflicts around the world should give a stop or a ceasefire as a result to enable them combat COVID-19. But all the initiatives which are coming or puffing off is being given a deaf ear. So it's however regrettable to me, and I think that the only reason is that some people are eating fat from the crisis.
But Barrister, Cameroon is not an island. In the international community, a call is made by the UN for conflicts around the world to be halted, at least to permit a better fight against COVID-19. But we did not witness that in Cameroon, and it will appear they refused and went free, scotch-free.
Yes, Cameroon is a sovereign state, and it has international partners. It's a member of the United Nations. So I think if the United Nations take a resolution and Cameroon is not adhering to it, it has measures that it can do to maybe sanction Cameroon and maybe go as far as
push Cameroon to respect.
Exactly. So I think let's just wait to see what will be the reaction of the United Nations for not respecting its resolutions, maybe by the Cameroonian authorities.
Okay, now you said we are having these problems because some people are actually feeding fat out of this crisis. Now some other opinion hold that the talks did not prosper because the government side of it did not want the talks to be made public. Because from all indications, we only had the separatist side saying that no, we had talks with the government, but the government of Cameroon has on no occasion announced that they were in talks or pre-dialogue talks with separatists.
Yeah, it is not a hidden agenda to you and I. We know that the Cameroon government stands as a bigger part or a bigger party into initiating talks with the separatist leaders. So if the government of Cameroon is not taking the lead, I don't see it prospering. So I believe that if sincerely we had in mind or a vision to put an end to this crisis, the Cameroon government, which is a bigger party or the heavyweight party, should be the one to initiate the talks. And I don't see why it should be considered a taboo in trying to look for a lasting solution. It is not like as if the Cameroon government has to take the lead, it makes a ridicule of itself.
Yeah, probably the government did, but was it strategically wrong for separatists to make it public, to make the world know that they were in some sort of talks with the government?
No, if negotiations are ongoing, I don't see what we lose in making it public. I think when the information came out public, many people were happy, and it gives some assurance that serious talks are, so we should be informed of whatever is happening. I think if the negotiations are public, I think it should be welcomed by everyone.
You know, Barrister, on several occasions we've had some government officials say, no, we cannot negotiate with these people. They took up arms against the state. There will be no negotiations. Probably these are some of the reasons that might have pushed the government not to want to make it public or to make the world know that they are negotiating. Some think that the government making the world to see them negotiating will be as they are proving weak in front of these separatists.
Now, I don't see it from that angle. If the government is taking the lead to negotiate, it doesn't make it in any way a weaker party. If truly people of good faith, people did not have personal interest into the conflict, they were the ones, they know exactly what is the core of the Anglophone problem. They know exactly where these separatist leaders reside in their various countries. They know who to contact and maybe put down and sit for any chat for a way forward. But you see, ever since they arrested the so-called Ambazonian leader, it has not ended the crisis. So I think we should re-strategize on our modus operandi in trying to resolve this crisis. The government should not feel that if it is taking the lead, it is making it a weaker party, or it is making it. I think the President of the Republic used to say that he loves peace. He's eager for peace. So he has a very high quest for peace. So if we go by that way, I don't see why the government should think that if it is engaging into any peaceful talk, it makes it a weaker party.
Now, Barrister, we are witnessing a deadlock as of now. Strategically, is any party winning with a deadlock? And if yes, which party is that?
The deadlock is not helping any of us, be it from the regular armed forces or be it from the separatists. What we decry is that we are losing citizens from both sides. And the people who are really paying the high price are the civilian population, because for 4 years today, all activities are on the halt. Children are not going to school. The economic situation is not moving. People are suffering on a daily basis. Innocent lives are going. I think it is not benefiting any of the parties, and like I believe, none of the parties can win the crisis.
But some of key ringleaders in these comes in the belligerent parties. Some of the people, they might not be the heads. They will want to argue. In most cases, we've seen on social media, they're saying that no, we are going to hold on until these people will get tired and give up.
Well, to me, when there is any conflict, what you should be seeking is lasting solutions. So it is not like you have to weaken the other person's strength before you think you have won. No, I don't think in an armed conflict like this one that is rocking Cameroon for 4 years, who could imagine that the crisis will go up to this period of time? And it is far from ending if we continue with this deadlock. We want to remain in our shelves without moving forward to say, okay, how do we dialogue? We keep on taking cosmetic measures to resolve the crisis. That is how the crisis every day, it is changing faces, and on every day and daily basis you have gunshots all over. You put in place a reconstruction plan when the war is still an ongoing event. So just to tell you that some people are gaining interest or having particular interest in making sure that this crisis should not come to an end, because they are only taking measures that are only provocative, and they are not really sufficient to put an end to the crisis.
Because they don't want the crisis to end.
Exactly.
The pains of the people, the women, for example, that we've seen them being raped in these regions, violated, is really not their concern.
Yes, that's the conclusion I make.
Now, Barrister, people within the government will always say the government has done a lot. They've said so. The government has done a lot with regards to bringing peace to this region. They will start to talk about the major national dialogue. Even before the major national dialogue, they will talk about commissions that are being created from the start of the Anglophone crisis, led by different key officials to the north and southwest region. They move from there to the major national dialogue, finally to the special status given to the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. Now, they say they've done it. Separatists should at least make a move. What can separatists actually do in this context?
Yes, I think what the separatists should also do is that, first of all, there is a lot of confusion within their circles. There is an in-house or infighting among themselves. They are not working in consultation, and they have this tendency of tagging whosoever is not buying their ideas to be maybe an enabler or whatsoever. I think what is really dragging this crisis for long too is because within the secessionist group, there is no harmony. The government is having that challenge of knowing that with who shall we dialogue. But to me, I think if we were serious, we cannot say we cannot use maybe one or two of the leaders to facilitate the talks, because when Equinoxe Tv was arrested, we thought that maybe the government could exploit that avenue, maybe use him so that he can talk to the other groups that, okay, let's stand as one, or let's unite and see how we put our grievances with the Cameroon government.
But do you actually see some of these other fractions listening to such a call from Equinoxe Tv?
At first, I believed, but as days go by, you have leaders arising from all angles, and now that it's taking another war turn, I really see the challenges of them now using Equinoxe Tv to
now,
be very difficult.
A group like Human Rights Watch would describe the Equinoxe Tv-led faction as the major group in this armed conflict in the north and southwest regions of Cameroon. If many other people view it the same, what should be stopping the government from actually taking it that no, this is actually a fraction, and go into it, decide, and then whoever is not coming to the table, so the people within and out of Cameroon can rightfully tag the person as the bad person or the bad element in this crisis?
I think there is a bad will from the government because, like I said, the government has some individuals among itself who do not want that this crisis should come to an end. So all the measures who are driving towards maybe achieving this peace solution, you have somewhere instead using some avenues to fuel the crisis. So I think that there's this bad will in governance because, truly speaking, a country has a president, and if he himself had to take the lead, like for example the major national dialogue, had it been he was the one himself, rather than assigning it to the prime minister, you see that there will be some seriousness in whatever he's doing. And during that dialogue, you see the separatist leaders were not invited. So I think, to me, it wasn't serious.
Okay, Barrister, now finally, these people that are suffering the hardest effect or the impact of the Anglophone crisis, I'm talking about the people of the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon, at a point where both parties are not ready to come to the table to talk so they can have peace. What should the people do? Legally, can they hold the parties responsible for their suffering?
Yes, the parties can hold both parties responsible because
the people,
exactly, the people who are suffering. We have international structures that can receive their complaints. War crimes have been committed, violations of all sorts of abuses of human rights have been committed. So there are international avenues for whereby the suffering civil population can cease to be able to obtain remedy for the damages caused.
Thanks very much, Barrister Tanko Richard, for accepting to be with us.
The pleasure is all mine.
Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for your very kind attention. Stay with Equinoxe Television. Interesting programs are just right ahead.